Welcome back to the Analysis Concave. We bend out this way, we don't bend out that way, we're not convex. And we are here to bring you more StarCraft action here from the Intel Extreme Masters.
And an Analysis Concave always beats an Analysis Convex.
That's right. That's right. There you go. That's war tactics. I think Sun Tzu said that one.
That's right.
Okay, anyway, we're going to be moving on to our next matches. We're going to have two more series that are going to be going on here at the desk, which is going to be Rogue and Zest. I think, Maynard, you may be jumping into that one.
I do have the honor and privilege to be in the lobby for Rogue Zest. They just started game 1 here in Blackpink.
Right.
This is sort of like the I guess the Korean apex of this group. I guess two of the people that a lot of people are expecting. You know, 2 multiple-time GSL champions, of course, and they're facing off, but it's again one of those situations where it's kind of weird, where it's one of the guys that you don't generally expect is sort of starting to lead the group.
Actually, all of the matches in this round are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Because also, Tasteless, you're going to have Cyril versus Neeb.
That's right. I'm actually going into game 1 right now, but I'm not going to have anything I can show you guys just yet. But this is going to be a very cool match. We've seen Neeb already go through a lot of Protoss versus Zerg, some with great success like he had against Nerchio, others not so much, getting shut down by Rogue. And I will say all the Zergs that we have in this group do approach CVP a little bit differently. Each one does have a fingerprint for that matchup. And I just want to get your quick thoughts, because we're almost ready here for Impact versus Nerchio, which is going to be our main stage show, as we do have, obviously, the Polish crowd representing. And looking at how Impact and Nerchio have done so far, what are your quick thoughts about how these two are going to be able to match up?
I mean, it's kind of tough to say, right? I mean, Nerchio, he's against the ropes at the moment in his group, but he hasn't really been able to flex his ZVZ muscle yet, which I happen to know is quite decent.
He's got a large ZVZ muscle.
It's huge. It's bulging. It's very vascular.
Okay.
ZVZ muscles do not skip leg day.
That's right. That's right.
They are very good. This one, I'm actually having a hard time calling. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm predicting the exact results. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Fair play. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, as we are ready to go in. So without further ado, we have Zerg versus Zerg. It's Impact going up against Nerchio.
After 2 PVZs to start off the day, it's time to mix things up as we head into a mirror matchup of Zerg versus Zerg. Up first, we have the 2017 VSL champion, and he'll be going up against the WCS Valencia champion, who needs your support now more than ever. Give it up, it's Impact and Nerchio!
Nation Wars fans bringing out, Net Wars fans bringing out the hype for Poland and Nerchio. As per always, these guys always bring the excitement down there, and that's why it is always a pleasure to be down here casting with my main man, Todd. You looking forward to this series, mate?
Absolutely. Impact has looked so good in the entire qualifiers to make his way here. He beat Scarlet, he beat a lot of strong players, he beat Sue as well. But now he goes up against the local favorite, Nerchio himself, who definitely needs to start on winning some series if he wants to keep the hope alive here. For a potential qualification into the round of 12, he's going to have to take out the very strong Impact.
It's been a tough start, of course, for Nerchio. Impact, on the other hand, did get that nice quick win against Zest to start things off. Losing a set to Cyril, not really that bad, and definitely going to be a Zerg versus Zerg match, which leads us into the next story of this tournament with 4 Zergs and 2 Protoss in the group. Zerg versus Zerg, Zerg versus Protoss, the only 2 matchup these guys needed to worry about, and this is definitely the more volatile, more aggressive one.
Some fantastic glasses, I have to say, that both players are rocking, you know, like Impact going for the round style, where we got the Red Bull ones for
it's kind of like the old school like round style, but they're like super big as well, so I don't know, it's kind of cool. Impact's one's a bit bit of an older style coming back. Of course, Nerchio, King Arthur, as we like to call him. Man,
he looks like a super intellectual, which he kind of is in a way, right? One of the more cerebral players in the scene. Been around for a long time, Nerchio. He's always been on the top, it feels like, in StarCraft. Like, his name has always been synonymous with top Europe. Once upon a time, I think he was the strongest non-Korean player alongside Stefano.
Absolutely.
And to this day, still very high up there. Not necessarily as the absolute best. I think we would look more at like guys like Serral, Neeb, but still very high up there in terms of being a very strong player. So it's pretty cool to see him being as consistent as he's been.
One of the first guys I remember back in the early days of Wings of Liberty. Of course, the Infester was kind of the unit of Wings of Liberty almost, and he was one of the first players that actually figured that out and was kind of defending drops just with Zerglings and Infestors all over the place. It's really cool because I think that, for me, is what Nerchio's career has been about. It's been everybody else playing Lingbane Muta in the early days. He was like, no, I'm going to use Infestors instead. He's always found different ways to play it. In Legacy of the Void, he's been a big fan of those Ravager openings, of course, in early Legacy, teching up with just a couple of Infestors into the Ultralisks. But he's shown huge range, and especially with the Hydralisk being the more recent kind of evolution. We've seen all different styles coming in. Nerchio, a Roach Hydra guy back in the early days of Zerg vs. Zerg as well. So he's definitely got a lot of range to his play.
He was a random player, actually, originally. So
really?
I think that's that's what makes him understand the game on the level that he does. For a long time, he played random. He played like in a lot of the online cups, Go for SC2 and all that, as a random player before eventually switching into Zerg. If you ask him, Zerg not necessarily the best of races right now, but it is the one that he went for, and he's kind of sticking with it.
He's got some strong opinions on balance, and
he's definitely earned a lot of money playing that one race.
Oh yeah.
One of the highest earning foreigners.
He's been very consistent over the years. He has struggled with Zerg vs. Zerg sometimes, has had some choice words about the matchup, finds the aggressive and volatile nature of it very difficult to handle, especially in these shorter form matchups. This is not a best of 5, it's a best of 3. So 2 maps and you can take it out very quickly. Of course, I actually love that shot as well of Impact adjusting his keyboard before. The players get to be very, very peculiar about these setups. And that's why every now and then we do get a delay if something's not quite right. Yeah. The players have to make sure every single setting is just perfect. And if it doesn't feel quite comfortable, it can definitely throw you off. I know I've experienced that as a player. There's some memes about you experiencing that as a player as well back in the day, Todd.
Really?
But I think these guys are comfortable now and looking to get the action started. Right, here we go, launching into Catalyst in the bottom right-hand side of the map. Hailing from Poland, give it up for your man, Nerchio! And did I just do that intro? I think that was right.
I think that was upside down.
And here we go, up here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, in the blue, it is Impact.
Going for a fast and furious build, Piggy open with a quick extractor into spawning pool. Impact gonna be the one on the offense. I watched a VOD actually to prepare for this, which was Nerchio against Laser, in which he got very similarly rushed by Zerglings early on, ended up losing his expansion, and just kind of started mining gas on his side of the map, went into Banelings, and then kind of went into a more normal game. But in this game so far, Nerchio has only started the hatchery, so we'll see if he does go into the extractor. Okay, yes, he does. So the likely scenario here is that he defends as best as he can the natural. Even if he loses it, Nerchio can go into his own Baneling Nest if he thinks that there's going to be a Baneling Nest from Impact, which is yet to be seen. But Impact is still mining gas. How do you like these build orders? Like when you see like both of these build orders, looking at them right now, do you feel like there is a lot of potential on micro from either player, or do you feel like there is an advantage going to someone?
I think it's all really on the micro front for sure, Todd. I mean, we've got a Baneling Nest already on the way here for Impact, so no Queen. This is like the most hard-hitting, just straight on, I want to kill you as quickly as possible version. So Nerchio can't underestimate this. He needs to just make as many units on the defense as possible. You'll notice he's not building an Overlord. He's saving up this lava. Instead, he's going to rely on the natural hatchery finishing to give him extra supply, and he's going to immediately start a Spine Crawler here. This is a sick reaction from Nerchio so far.
Does he get a Bailing Nest or not here? That's my big question, because Impact with this, he's getting Metabolic Boost, he's going to be getting a ton of links, getting Banelings. Nerchio's about to see that there is no second base from Impact. So he knows that this is a big one-base commitment. So I think getting his own Bailing Nest is going to be the answer. And Nerchio, sure enough, starts this. He's trying to buy time here. The natural base, pulling some drones, doing really well so far. As the hatchery, he's kind of low on hit points. But right now, Nerchio knows that there is going to be Banelings. Just from having the information that there is no second hatchery, he knows that those are going to be coming.
Yeah, these Banelings coming in. Nerchio's got to split these Zerglings. Can't afford to take a big hit. Does dodge that one quite well, but the Queen gets surrounded. She falls, but Nerchio's done a bit of damage. He needs to get these Zerglings back. He wants to defend this hatchery, but it looks like it's going to go down.
Yeah, the Queen trying to set up here around the ramp. The Banelings are going to try to move up. There is a Spine Crawler as well. Nerchio, his own Bailing Nest is about to finish. He loses the second base, but he already used the Larva from it. So he's 17 walkers against the 13 of Impact. And he's actually going to set up that Spine Crawler on the low ground here. He's going to need a Crypt Tumor to make sure that doesn't bleed out very soon.
Really nice response from Nerchio. He's being so careful with those Zerglings blocking the ramp. Now Banelings, a Spine, and a Queen. This is an unassailable position here. Impact's still going to go for it. Oh, wow, he's going to try and take down the Spine Crawler. He will be able to get that. More Banelings are finishing up here for Nerchio, but one does go down. One last Baneling standing there. He wants to keep this hatchery alive. Nerchio on the back foot right now, but he is managing to hang on to that hatch.
This has been defended here by Nerchio. Actually, those last few Baneling connections by Impact were pretty good, but I mean, he just didn't have enough units. Now Nerchio is the one with the earlier hatchery. Walker count's about even though, with Impact getting slightly ahead here for now. So it looks like we might just head into a kind of like an even slash mirror game for now.
Yeah.
The only big difference is that Nerchio, because he had to go for the Bailing Nest quickly, he's not going to have Metabolic Boost to work with. So it will be interesting to see if he even starts that at all here in a moment, because he had to rush for that Bailing Nest.
Yeah, he had to just focus on the defense for now, and that definitely gives Impact a bit of flexibility and mobility. We can see the worker count now climbing ahead for the Korean Zerg player. He is still continuing to pressure out front. Wants to defend this Overlord. Nerchio. Oh my god. Dangerous from Impact there. And he does end up getting his Overlord out of there, actually, with just a couple of hit points left. So nice save by Impact, still maintaining pressure. And Zergling speed, it does start up there, Todd.
Yeah. Wants to make sure he can head across the map with at least some of these links, kind of threaten, maybe get some information eventually, because in terms of Overlords and flying them in there, you don't really get Pneumatized Carapace in this matchup. You want to save your gas for other things, upgrades, roaches, potential Spire. We have a lair starting by Impact on the natural.
Wow. Could be fast mutas, could of course just be taking up to roach speed as well. But either way, that's going to be some fast tech, and Nerchio with no link speed. You said it's scouting, right, Todd? He has no vision on the map at this point. Meanwhile, Impact here running around with the speedlings. He sees an evolution chamber there on the back of the natural, and does see that there is a lot of workers coming out. Both players neck and neck in economy. Impact with the faster tech and the map control.
I gotta say, I'm always so impressed when I watch a ZVZ, you know, as a Protoss player, and I see neither of these guys getting a Spine Crawler. I'd be so worried about Ling and Bane. I would get so many Spine Crawlers. That's why I'd be a terrible Zerg. You always refer to this matchup as a knife fight in a phone booth, and I feel like that's a great analogy.
Indeed, it's, you know, often defense through aggression, right?
Yeah.
Rather than sitting back, because the nature of Zerg, you know, if you leave them alone too long, you can just speed ahead in the worker count. So both players constantly seeking to keep each other in check, and it is going to be the Spire tech for Impact, heading towards those Mutalisks.
Yeah, it became pretty obvious he was going to do that when he took the 3 additional extractors. So Impact is now mining off of 4 extractors. That's going to be a lot of gas coming in. And how many Mutas would you get usually in this situation?
Well, Nerchio needs to scout this. He's coming in with Zerglings. Are they going to get in? I think they just got taken out by a Baneling on the ramp there. So Nerchio is really keen to find this.
Did you see the 2 gases?
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah, if we can check the gases on the natural, if Nerchio can see those or not. Looks like, I don't know if he spotted those. So I don't think he really has any idea that the Spire tech is there.
I mean, yeah, he saw the lair. He's adding 1 more Queen at least.
That's
I mean, it's not like Mutas are going to fly into a mineral line and start getting drones anyway, right? Like, you're always going to have enough Queens for that. You can start getting spores and all, but usually you at least would want to know about the Mutas so you can make sure you're better set up defensively. But that's going to be a couple of Overlords dead out on the map.
Yep, this Spire is going to be finishing. Of course, the follow-up to that is interesting. You can play Ling Bane Heavy Muta. You can go into Roaches as well. There's a few other niche transitions, but those are the most common ones. Nerchio really wants to get his worker count up higher. He's building a lot of Zerglings, Banelings, and Roaches. These really aren't the units you want against the Mutalisks. You want to build extra drones so that you can boost up your mineral income, because that's what you're going to lose to the Mutalisks. You're going to lose Overlords, you're going to lose drones, you're going to lose a lot of these units.
I was wondering the whole time how long was Impact going to go into Mutas, but I get my answer here. He starts a Roach Run and an Evo Chamber, so it's just going to be maybe like around a dozen. He'll get a couple links to really be mobile, so that if Nerchio wants to attack, Impact really can truly counter-attack very fast with the links, maybe defend with the Mutas, and then he'll head into his own Roach Ravager. You mentioned Nerchio is a Roach Hydra guy. There's never a better moment to go into that than when you're facing Mutas, right? You want something to be able to deal with the Mutalisks.
Definitely is a good composition there. Might add Infestors as well to add a little bit of shutdown, but they're actually not the most important because this is only 6 Mutalisks out of Impact. It's a small Mutalisk count, so he just wants to clean up the Overlords. He wants to force a big response, and that's already what he's getting. Nerchio has been pushed off the map into his corner. He's building 5 Spore Crawlers. And Nerchio, luckily, did build up a big enough economy to afford this, but he's got to make sure he shuts down any damage. After these Overlords go down, he needs to stop these Mutas and Banelings getting into his workers.
Okay, well, that was worth it for Impact. Sure, he wanted to get some drones, but at least gets a few more Banelings than he lost there just now. And we have Tunneling Claws actually starting here for Nerchio, who wants to be mobile with his Roaches Infestation Pit as well. You think that's for Infestors, or does he want to go into high for more upgrades? So if I look at the +2 missile timing, I think that lines up pretty well with being able to start +3 and keeping on expanding while harassing with Roaches.
Potentially could be going for that later on down the track. Might go for Infestors now, might not. A lot of different choices open to Nerchio and how he wants to proceed. These Banelings from Impact, so annoying, but a good response from Nerchio. Has he got anything to actually kill the Banelings? Where are his Roaches? And, oh, yeah, you gotta stop that.
Oh my god!
Only gonna lose 1 extra drone there, I think, and that Baneling.
That guy just can't make up his mind.
The Mutalisks get a gas in the main base at the same time. Oh, okay, here we go. Roach counterattacks on the other side of the map at the same time. Gonna try and focus down some workers. Both players harassing each other's economies right now. Neither of them added an especially impressive worker count. Only about 50 workers apiece. And these Roaches just trying to be as annoying as possible. The Mutas here rotating, trying to find another angle, but the Hydras are in position.
Impact was being so active there with the Mutas running, doing a little run by with the links into the natural, then using that as a distraction. So actually send Banelings into the third. Actually, or maybe a little bit overextending here. He's gonna start losing some Mutas. Whoa, Impact.
2 Mutas do go down, a few more heavily bruised. Here comes the big Roach attack, though. He is up almost 40 army supply. There's not a lot of Roaches providing buffer for these Hydralisks. It's only a small army for Nerchio. He needs to bring his queens to the front. He needs those queens to help defend this huge Roach onslaught.
Yeah, the Mutas are gonna die very fast. Corrosive Bite needs to be dodged here from Nerchio. So far, he's doing a pretty good job of that, but it's so hard to tell where it is exactly. In some of these fights, Impact committing a lot to this attack, and Nerchio defends.
He's losing a lot of the Hydralisks. Most of his damage output is gone. He's going to have to pull drones off the line, but I feel like he might have already lost a few too many Roaches and Hydras. A good engagement here for Impact. Taking a lot of damage is Nerchio. Nerchio is down to 49 workers. He's down in that army supply. Yeah, he's up an upgrade, but he doesn't have the numbers to take advantage of that right now.
Yeah, Nerchio needs to keep on injecting. He needs more units. Impact still heading across the map with so many units. He's only making units right now. He doesn't want to transition out of this. He wants to close this game out with Roach Ravager only.
Oh, it's a good call from the Korean Zerg player. The Roach is running forward for Nerchio, trying to focus down the Ravagers. He's going to take down a few of them, but his numbers are dwindling. Impact just has so many more units throughout this, and that Corrosive Bile forcing these Roaches to constantly be dodging, allowing Impact to land more hits in this battle.
He just has too much here. I think Nerchio trying to regroup, trying to squeeze out as many units as he can. GG. Impact. Clean and smooth. Mutalisk into a massive Roach attack seals the deal in game number 1.
He's such an aggressive Zerg player. Opening up from the get-go with that early gas pull, does the big Baneling Zergling attack, does take out the expansion, but a clean transition off it. He knew when to pull back, and he didn't ever really go up to that crazy big economy, and that's Impact in a nutshell. He wants to finish you off with a series of fast, hard-hitting attacks. He's not a player who likes to play a reactive game of StarCraft. He always has pre-planned strategies and tactics, and he goes into these games with a good plan of how he wants to execute and finish. Well, guys, we will be right back with Game 2 in just a second, but first of all, let's hear from James and the boys on the desk.
That's right, a lot of gig games going on at the moment, and we can head over to Maynard, who has Rogue versus Zest.
I do indeed. There's something amazing just happened. We just missed it by a split second, but yeah, it's just behind me on the screen there. But Rogue went for a huge committal of banelings there to try and bust Zest open. But the force fields of Zest good enough. He did lose his cybercore, which kind of sucks, but we're actually looking over the shoulder of Rogue right now, playing in the Players Lounge. There we go. Zest opened a little weird. I'd like to be able to show you guys the structures in particular that he was doing. That was a little bit strange, but I guess we're not doing that. Okay. So he went double Stargate as an opener, which you don't see every day. And instantly, I think, Oracles from Zest, right?
Yep.
He ended up going for a Phoenix opening. Just made 5 Phoenixes, sort of forced a reaction out of Rogue, and then everything switched on its head. Zest just went into a more regular, immortal sort of, charge lot follow-up here with a bunch of sentries. The hold of the natural was really, really sick for Zest. Rogue's not out of it yet. You can see that he's got a lot better of an economy. And with Zest with this Warp Prism, he does look like he wants to put some hurt on, but, we can see that Rogue has just, in true Rogue fashion, tons of Lings, although if it was true Rogue fashion, there'd be a lot of Banelings as well. Haven't seen any of those just yet. There we go, they're on the way now. And as we're seeing the score here, what's very, very important to bring up is that Rogue is currently on match point this best of 3 against Zest, who's having a little bit of a tough time, I gotta say. Like, not as dominant as we used to seeing Zest be, but it's nice to see Rogue having such nice games. He actually, game 1 ended exactly how Rogue defeated Neeb on Blackpink.
Right.
Exactly the same way. Lots of roaches, sent the queens in, and game 2 obviously quite a bit different here on Backwater.
All right, thank you very much, Maynard. We're going to head over now to Tasteless, who did have Zero versus Neeb, and you had the first game conclude. You've just joined game 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, I'm just at the start of game 2, so there's nothing worth actually putting up on the screen here, but it should be noted that Neeb did dominate in game 1 versus Cyril, first with an adept pressure, doing a ton of damage. Then the follow-up, along with the third expand, was 2 Robos, pumping out a bunch of Immortals, and just came in there and crushed Cyril's 4th base. So I don't know what game number 2 is really going to look like yet, but if game 1 is any indicator, Neeb should win this series easily.
And it seems like Zest has been cleaned up in that little attack that he made.
It's a shame we missed it, but that was a really sick hold from Rogue. He actually dropped Banelings on top of the sentries of Zest.
Right.
Really huge move there. Managed to remove all the force fields from Zest's army, and we see that with the Queens and the Hydras reinforcing here, Rogue is in a little bit of a temperamental problem right now, but I think that once all the Hydras get here, considering there's no High Templar, there's no Storms, it's going to be a little bit tough for Zest to break that, and we're seeing that sort of represented in the supply as well. Rogue quite a bit ahead in workers at the moment.
Cool.
And I like his upgrades as well.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen, as we can go back to our main series now. Impact and Nerchio currently battling things out.
Thank you very much, James. Of course, this series has started off with the Korean Zerg, I think surprising everyone in this group so far. He is 1-1 in overall series score, but he's already a game up on Nerchio, and a tough start for the Polish player.
Yeah, he's having a hard time today, but I mean, this is such a high-level tournament. Again, you can't afford to not be on your A game, and so far, Nerchio is, I guess he's going to have to step it up a little bit here if he wants to be able to do better, because he's playing against the absolute best players out there, Pig.
Oh yeah, definitely a bit of a, I think, surprise upset for Nerchio with how he handled everything in that early game. We're going to have to see if he can do a little bit better. Spawning here into Backwater in the bottom right-hand side. In the red, it is Nerchio. And up here in the top left-hand side, in the blue, already showing a very aggressive opening once again. It is Impact.
With the quick pull once again into an extractor, wants to keep up with the aggression. You said it, Impact, he loves to set the pace, and what better way to set the pace than with an early game rush like this. Even though in the last game it's not exact, I wouldn't say it put him ahead, you know, like maybe he was like 1 or 2 walkers ahead for a little bit, but they were kind of juggling back and forth into who had the walker leads. But maybe it's his comfort zone to be able to kill his opponent's hatchery, kind of make it a chaotic game from the start.
Exactly. It's like his comfort zone, right? You said it there. It's about putting the aggression on. I think there's a psychological element. We've all been in those series where you feel like your opponent's just always 1 step ahead. He's kind of the one who's hitting at you. He's the one who's making the moves. And especially the float-on effect from that early game, Zergling speed being finished for Impact, him having the map control, him being the one probing around, Nerchio having a long period in that game where he didn't have any control, and that definitely did seem to hurt him. This time around, though, Impact going to be doing a slightly different variation of the rush. Notice how these Zerglings going on a bit of a funny path. They're avoiding that Overlord's vision. They want to sneak over to Nerchio's side of the map. And behind this, Impact has a much faster Queen that's about to pop out. He's delayed the Baneling Nest because he's not going for the fastest possible attack. He's going for a much more committed kill move. So only now is he going to actually show these Zerglings. He's going to have a much bigger reinforce with those lava injects coming in earlier. And all things considered, this is a tough situation for Nerchio. He's gone for the same hatchery first opening. He's using the exact same response. It's all going to come down to micro.
Yeah, grabbing a Baneling Nest, getting the Spine Crawler, trying to get some queens out. Remember last time his one queen on the natural got surrounded pretty quickly. He had actually an initial better defense in the previous game where he saved the hatchery for a very long time. Still kind of trying to do the same, punishing those lings for attacking the hatchery, which does go down here. Impact will be pulling back, saving a lot of these links, and he's got so many more where that came from, Pig.
Banelings already are morphing here. The hatchery already going down. I mean, that's kind of enough damage in the previous game, but here, Impact is just massing Lings and Banes. He wants to do more damage. It isn't necessarily about breaking the main base of Nerchio, but it's about stopping Nerchio from being able to take the low ground.
Yeah, the queen on the natural never came out. That's the big difference. Even though in the previous game it died, it actually tanked a lot of damage here. Impact getting right back in there. The Spine Crawler targets on that one Baneling. Nerchio, the defense is there. But Impact, does he want to expand? Yes, he goes into drones from there. So he's going to give up the assault and do a lockdown for as long as he can, thanks to his link speeds plus Baneling on the natural of Nerchio.
You know what? With the Queen going down, there's no Creep Tumor. With no Creep Tumor, that Spine Crawler cannot move to the low ground. So even though Nerchio's defense was good, he's still in a very hard spot. How does he possibly retake this natural expansion?
He must have had enough energy as well, for sure, I think. So a little bit surprising that Nerchio overextended like this, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure here. Facing a potential third series loss here in this group stage.
Lings here coming down. They want to allow this expansion to go up. Ooh, does force the cancel there. Nerchio not wanting that expansion to be killed. Trying to defend here, but his Queen actually chasing an Overlord right now. That's not helping.
Impact's micro is so insane.
Oh man, this is insane.
Impact's micro is ridiculous. Did you see that? He threatened to run into the main base, brought Nerchio back every single time he dispatches one or two links onto that Baneling. Now again, threatening a cancel on the hatchery, which is gonna get one more time. Wow. That micro was ridiculous.
This is massive. If he can get the cancel, and he does.
Wow.
Nerchio's hatchery only just restarting. Impact's well on the way, but not only that, Impact is up to 22 workers. Impact has got all of the momentum in this game. Zergling speed not even halfway done for Nerchio.
If I was Nerchio here, I think I'd start to really be quite fed up with all of these attacks. He might just get a bunch of units, go across the map and trying to finish this series, because you can only push a good man for so long, Pig, before he pushes back. But it looks like Nerchio is going to take the different route of instead building up his economy with a third hatchery, unless he's faking it, because he's getting lings right now. What is that?
I like the third hatchery. I think, I mean, he had so many minerals banked up. Why not, right? And on this map, that's something you can do.
Does he want Impact to see the third hatchery, to think that Nerchio is playing the economic game over drone and then Nerchio attacks?
I think if there's any other player, I'd consider that. With Nerchio, no way. Nerchio is like, nope, I'm just going to do a little bit of counter pressure, be a bit safe, but behind this, he will be droning up almost certainly. He's got a ton of Zerglings on the way right now. This Zergling actually does spot it, so maybe Impact's going to be a little bit greedy here. But Nerchio, he's going for about 30 Zerglings, man. That is a ton. He's got 6 Banelings morphing as well.
Oh my god, Nerchio, it looks like he's going to go for it. I told you, you can only push a good man around for so long before he pushes back. But Nerchio, no, he does go into more drones, so he does mean to do an attack.
He's going to be expanding behind it. He's going to try and dart on in there. Maybe just go for the third base, but no, going to dive on the drones in the natural. These Banelings actually not getting the detonations they wanted. The Zerglings dive on into that main base. Lings trying to surround that Queen. We can see Impact's first-person view here as he frantically tries to defend, spreading those drones at the last second. A few of them do go down, but a fantastic dealing with a terrible situation. Doesn't lose too many of these Zerglings for Nerchio, though, come in trying to finish off these weakened workers. Many of them surviving in the red hit points. Good control by Impact, but does sustain some damage.
That was so sick. You see how fast he was? To the naked eye, it's almost hard to see like all that was happening there. He spread out those drones perfectly. Did lose 9 of them, which now brings Nerchio 9 workers in the lead. Up against an Impact who again went for a lair, as well as the third hatchery. Nerchio starts a lair himself and adds some more extractors. So Nerchio pulled ahead with that attack here quite nicely, I have to say.
Very well played by him. I love the droning just as he starts to actually launch the assault in there. You know, he says, look, I'm just going to hit this one dedicated assault. Behind it, there's just going to be workers spilling out onto that economy. And just keeping Impact occupied there and microing. Not only was he killing workers, but he was delaying injects. He's delaying him focusing on progressing his economy. So Impact now seeing just how many drones he's up against. He's got to be a little bit worried. And that Zergling, cheeky, hiding in the corner of the main base, is going to give Nerchio unlimited scouting. And hell, he could even use it for a Nidus Worm, since this is Mutalisk play from Impact once again. Yeah,
he's going for all these extractors. Didn't make a roach run on an Evo yet. Impact seems to be quite set on going for something like Mutalisk. If Nerchio realizes it and goes for a Nidus, I actually think you're right. That would be very dangerous, because Nerchio has already made a bunch of queens, which might be starting to spend up on energy.
Spot the Spire. I don't know if he actually saw that. No, he didn't go in the back.
I mean, he did see the gases.
Yeah, he should probably... Oh, especially now, seeing gases on the third this early. That's 100%. Someone as good as Nerchio knows it's Spire anyway.
You can kind of add 2 + 2 + 2.
-1, yep.
And realize that, yeah, a lot of the time here is going to be a Spire. So we'll see. No, okay, Nerchio does go for a Hydra then and a 4th base. Not the guy to go for the all-out aggression here against this.
Well, if we think about last time, in the previous game, I think one of the big things is he pretty much would have been ready to hang on, but he built a lot of Spore Crawlers for the Mutas. Despite that, the Mutas found their way in his main base, killed a few workers, and remember, he had to run those drones from the Banelings. For like, he lost like a minute of mining time on his 3rd base.
And also the Queens were kind of dancing around, so they were not injecting as much, whereas Impact on his side of the map was eating every injects perfectly. So that's why he has so much there eventually.
If he can just lock it down this time, not take that damage. I mean, he's obviously in a much better position, but if he also stops the Mutas and Banelings from doing damage, he's in an amazing position.
Impact, let's see if he can repeat some of his great micro from earlier. Connects here once again.
His
and he might be able to get a cancel. Yeah, it's insane every time.
These Banelings of Nerchio just don't do their job at all. They keep going down so quickly. It seems like Impact can just peel off these pairs of Zerglings, target them instantly, whereas usually players take a lot longer to do that, and that is putting a lot of pressure on Nerchio. He's trying to get that 4th up. Spore Crawlers are starting. How many Mutalisks was that this time? We've got 4 about to pop, 8 already out. So 12 Mutas this time, a little bit of a heavier commitment.
I got worried for a second because I saw Impact go for the Hydra then and the Evo. I was like, where's the Roach one? Is it just going to go lean Muta? And
go straight to Lurkers, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. So he does go for the Roach one. So he's going to have his own transition. But this time around with Hydralisks as opposed to the previous game.
Ooh, this is only 5 Hydras up against 12 Mutalisks.
Well,
the Mutas will go down, but there's no Spores out here. A huge lapse in judgment from Nerchio, losing those Hydras. When you lose the first few Hydras, it's a disaster. Speaking of disasters, Todd, a Queen goes down in the back of the natural. Luckily, the Roaches do get there in time. The 4th base is in trouble.
Impact is so aggressive. It's almost like uncharacteristic of a player like this. In this kind of situation, he's just so aggressive, and every time that he goes for these attacks, he's right. Like, if he doesn't have enough, he pulls back. If he sees that he has just enough, he engages. I feel like Nerchio is almost caught off guard here on this 4th base with the Hydralisks. He's just kind of standing there saying, I'll fight, but Impact just has enough to start getting the first wave of Hydralisks. And every single time the engagements happen like that.
They don't grow their Zergs like this in Europe, man. European Zergs, very, very good, but usually much more defensive. Impact is a creature of aggression and hostility. He's all about getting in his opponent's faces and throwing them off. Here, he's going to get an Extractor as well as 3 drones. His Mutalisks, even though there's only 5 of them, finding the damage and being as annoying as possible, causing as much chaos. Nerchio actually pushing across the map here. He's got 2-1 and his Hydra movement speed about to finish. Does he have Groove Spines? I think he already has that upgrade finished. Yes, he does. So he's going to have the double Hydra upgrades and 2-1 versus +1. Nowhere near even finished. Roach speed isn't even done here for Impact.
Yeah, this could be a great timing for Nerchio, but I'm not sure he actually means to attack there. He gets supply block. Those Mutas still being so annoying. Impact is just so insane with his Mutas. It almost looks like Archon mode, like another guy is microing the Mutas full time because he never overextends.
Oh man, Impact is so fast, so good at microing this aggression. He's going into his own Roach Hydra behind this. His upgrades are slowly getting there. He's got +1 almost done. Nerchio still with a massive upgrade lead. He's got a good army. About similar overall supplies. When it comes to the ground army, almost identical. Lurkers morphing on the front here. Very ambitious from Impact. Nerchio finds it and he's going to pick the fight.
Yeah, Corrosive Bites here might land. Nerchio trying to do what he can to dodge them. He sees the Morphine Lurkers. He's going to get a cancel on on them and actually chase this army back here. Great engagement, but Nerchio not threatening a potential counter-attack. Could be definitely going for this, especially with his upgrade lead. That would be one of the best timings here for him to try and hit.
Those are some pretty good upgrades there. That is very, very nice. Nerchio pushing through the middle of this map. 2-1 is finished. He's going for Hive behind this, wants to add even more upgrades. Looks like he's just going to take the fight all the way to Impact's side of the map. Nerchio pushing his way through. He's had enough of dealing with these waves of aggression. It's his turn to put the hurt on Impact. Impact crumbling under the pressure of these Roaches and Ravagers. Their upgrades are just too good. The numbers are too good. And finally, Nerchio finds a bit of ground in this group, takes a game, and ties up the series 1-1.
Great job by Nerchio, staying patient here. There were so many times, like, if I were him, I feel like I would have just been, all right, I'll just make some units, attack and go for it. But no, he kept on expanding. He defended every single one of these attacks. And Impact, despite getting some good trades, maybe he got a little bit overeager here, moved across the map. Sometimes it's hard to realize, you know, exactly where you are in the numbers game, in a Starcraft game, and you're the one always attacking, and the opponent's always defending. You get a little bit overeager, you move across the map, that's where you morph your lurkers, you get punished for it. And that's what happened here to Impact.
That's his style, right? It's a lot of these very aggressive moves where he's kind of relying on the fact that he pins his opponent in a box. He likes to keep him back, and that's what's so impressive about Nerchio's play. Right from the get-go, he did that fake push across the map with the Roach Hydra. He was looking to keep the aggression on towards Impact's side of the map because he knew if he just sat back in his corner, Impact would start making these plays. Caught the Lurker morph out there and was able to shut that down. So Impact there did have a bit of a harder run in the second game around. And I mean, I've got to be wondering here, we've seen almost identical openings, both games, from both players. Of course, it's a little bit map dependent, but is Nerchio just going to play Hatchery first again? Is he confident in his defense? Or is he going to give a little bit more respect? Is Impact going to stick with the aggression? Or is he maybe going to take his foot off the pedal a little bit?
I guess we'll find out, Pig, won't we?
Oh yeah. Going into map number 3 of this series. It is going to be Black-Pink as the map. And our Korean Zerg player spawning up here in the top right-hand side of the map. In the blue, it is Impact. Pretty fast spawning pool there. Looks like he wants to keep going aggressive. Now this man down here, he's been weathering the storm so far. Is he going to be able to withstand one more round of aggression? Representing Poland in the bottom left, in the red, it is Nerchio.
We're praising Impact a lot for his micro, and I do think it was amazing, but Nerchio had a pretty good defense in the previous game.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of easy to single out the mistake that he made when he moved down the ramp with the Queen and lost it. Imagine if that hadn't happened and he had put down like something like a Crypt Tumor. So in this time around, it's the third time in a row that we're going to have a rush from Impact. If Nerchio gets it better, if he defends just slightly better than in the previous game, imagine how far ahead he's going to propel himself into the mid game.
And look, he went for a spawning pool before even going for gas. Nerchio adding that extra layer of safety here. Of course, it's a slightly faster rush distance. I love this decision from Nerchio. And it's going to be especially good because Impact is changing things up a little bit. He's not getting the gas this time. He's going to be going for a faster expansion. So in this case, he's going for the cancel on the natural. But if he even gets that, he's like, oh yes, I'm in such a good position. This is nowhere near as committed in the previous game. So Nerchio isn't going to have that information unless he can read it from the Zergling timing, saying, you know what, those Zerglings are a little bit faster than the previous games. So we're going to have to see exactly how Nerchio responds realistically. If he doesn't want to fall behind, he has to keep his hatchery alive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he's going to get links, pole drones. The Queens will be earlier. Remember last game, the hatchery got sniped before the Queen was even there.
Yep. Oh, Nerchio, I love this. He's pulling the drones so much earlier.
Yeah, he's trying to buy time. So what Nerchio's doing is attacking those links to make sure they turn around, attack the drones, then he pulls back. But he actually leaves a little bit early, starts a span, and he's going to start the Baneling Nest. Oh. I don't think that Nerchio has identified exactly what this was. Yeah. He needs to make sure that Queen comes out, though. This would be a disaster if he doesn't.
He's misread it. He thinks this is a lot more committed than it actually is. You know, this isn't game over by any means, but it's definitely a tough start if that hatchery goes down and it falls.
And Nerchio is going to get the bad news that there is a hatchery across the map and realize he's been duped by Impact here. What does he do? Does he counter? You can't really. Like, It's not like he has a metabolic boost despite having a Baneling Nest.
He does cancel the Baneling Nest now, I believe, in the main, which is a good response. He might even put, yeah, he's going to leave one guy mining gas, so he might just go for Zergling speed in a bit. For now, he realizes, rebuild that hatchery, and there we go. Immediate third base from Nerchio. I was going to say, he's got to just try to keep up in the economy, and that third base is going to be the best way to try and do that. If he can manage to scout here, see what the follow-up is. Zergling wants to get in the main and see if there's any gas.
Yeah.
But
by the way, Nerchio, by seeing this second base of Impact, seeing how many drones there are in the Queen, he knows that Impact cannot have speed anytime soon. So what does that mean? He's getting speed himself for links. He might be able to get a couple links and go for the cancellation on Impact's potential third base that he's going to need here very soon, right, to be able to keep up with Nerchio. So definitely something that is got going for him, but other than that, it's definitely Impact quite a bit in the lead here on the worker count.
Yeah, man, already up 8 workers this early. I mean, the third hatch is going to be nice for getting back in it. But this is similar to what happens when we see people go for those gasless wall-off openings. Impact, of course, he's going to have more workers, less mobility. He's only just starting his gas guys now. He's wanting to get some scouting. That Queen says, nah, you're wearing the wrong shoes, mate, and rejects that Zergling. Going to have to go home.
What's the right shoes?
Oh, you gotta wear nice fancy ones, man.
Yeah?
You wanna get in the club, you wanna get in the Zerg club, you wanna get in Nerchio's club, you gotta be wearing really nice shoes.
I mean, you can wear the wrong shoes, but Roddy gets you in.
Well, if you're hashtag in the club, you know, I mean, then things are all good. Impact, though, not quite as stylish as Roddy just yet. He's been going for some straight-up aggression in these games. But this time around, he's easing off the aggression a little bit. He's actually just going to go double Evo Ro24 in the
I feel like Nerchio at this point should almost be happy to go into a longer game with bigger armies, right? Because like Impact is so used of playing super aggressive. If you can take him to a longer game, in my opinion, it will be more Nerchio's comfort zone. And right now, Nerchio has the third base up. He's preventing the third base from Impact from going up for the longest time.
Yeah.
Starting his own upgrade, which actually going to Carapace as opposed to Missile.
This is an odd choice. Honestly, Nerchio right now is way down on the workers. He's still down about 3 or 4. You might think, oh, way down. That's not that way down. The thing is, he's been down about 10 workers for the past 2 minutes. And that's a lot of income. What is Impact doing with that income? He's making a lair. He's making range upgrades. He's going into roach production. Nerchio needs to delay this third hatchery longer. And you can see he's focused on it. He's microing in and out. He wants to get the snipe on that drone. But the nice movement here from Impact guards that worker. Gets the hatchery down. This is a ton of Zerglings.
He's going to trap those queens here. The Impact needs to reach on those queens with roaches because Nerchio made links.
He's making a lot of Zerglings.
He's not going across the map yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a weird attack here from Nerchio. He's banking up for a big attack, a big run by. I'm not sure if the Overlord spotted it at the front there for Impact.
I don't think so. It's too far back. He's morphing an Overseer. Nerchio even sees that. He went all the way around. Impact will have very little time here to see this. Does Nerchio try to run into the main? No. Okay, yeah, he does actually. Impact is still low.
There's just too much there for Impact. Impact is so far ahead in this position right now, committing to those Zerglings. They didn't find the damage. Nerchio here, stuck on hatchery tech. He's up a couple of workers. He's going into mass roach Zergling. He's basically saying at this point, look, I'm only on, I think it's 2 gas geysers? Yeah, he's going to go 2 gas Ravager Zergling. And he's going to bank on Impact overextending into him. So when you're behind like this, you can come back. He's going to use the Carapace to counteract the +1 range attack on Impact's roaches. That makes it so those roaches don't get any effective bonus from that attack upgrade. And that means he can still beat this higher tier army if he can surround it with Zerglings and land Corrosive Bile on it. If he can't land those Corrosive Biles though, Impact's army will just beat his straight up. Especially as the army gets bigger and bigger, Impact's army will just outclass his in the long game.
It's not about the size big, it's how you use it, and I think Nerchio is going to count on that here to land some good surrounds. He catches a couple roaches on their own here. He's going to have to pull back right after killing those ones, because Impact have so much more where that came from. Starting the roach production earlier, he has 70 army to 50. Impact's still running up though. I thought he might just mass roaches and actually go for it, because he's got a good supply lead, but he's still running up slightly more. Nerchio still trying to threaten the counter attack. He's going to have to defend on his side of the map.
Oh, this is only a small group of roaches here from Impact caught out in the middle. And if these Zerglings can wrap around it, that's going to be great for Nerchio. Nerchio hasn't showed his hand just yet, though. He's still got a ton of Zerglings that haven't come into the engagement. He's cutting off reinforcements. Now he's bringing the Zerglings up from his rally. They are going to try and help out his roaches. He needs to hang on here. He's outclassed in terms of the upgrades. His Ravagers trying to equalize, but Impact has that roach speed finished. His roaches coming in. The aggression has just been relentless this series. Impact keeps on finding openings. Nerchio desperately trying to hang on.
Yeah, Impact with some great kiting here up on seeing those links kind of coming in from every angle. Nerchio, he's so far behind in walkers now. It's 63 to 46. He's either going to have to try and catch up or make a lot of units head across the map and try to do some damage himself. He did start a +1 missile, whereas on the other side, we got double upgrade happening for Impact. Okay, that aim was way off.
I think that was queued up from early.
Got distracted by by the hologram there.
Yeah, man. Got a little bit thrown off there. Did those Ravagers. Of course, that Overseer on a patrol path, just scouting everything. Patrol path makes it so the Corrosive Bile can't easily land to take that down. And Nerchio, he's far behind in this game. It's going to be a long road to redemption if he wants to get back in this game. He's down in everything. Worker count about 9 behind. He's adding the upgrades to try and equalize. He's adding his own roach composition. He's going for a 4th base. His best bet here is to stay slightly lower on workers than Impact to make a much bigger army over time. Use Defender's advantage to just stay in the game, and if he can max out, then suddenly all these earlier advantages don't matter as much because he will have an army just as big, if not slightly larger than Impact's, and that's when positioning can win the game. And if we know someone who knows how to position a Zerg versus Zerg engagement, it is this guy. It is Nerchio.
It's definitely very worrying that there is no anything else, like nothing else being added on by Impact, by the way. I didn't see a Hydra then going down. I think he might, he's just going to attack. Typically, that's what Impact does. So
oh yeah.
I think he realizes that he's ahead. He's like, you know what? I'll do a 2-1 timing. I'll be up at least 1 upgrade. Just make a ton of Roaches, Ravagers, and put an end to this series.
And this is a good way to press his advantage. He's up 30 army supply right now. The upgrade advantage is massive. 20 seconds until Nerchio's +1 upgrade finishes. It's almost there. He needs that upgrade. Looks like it will come in just in time, but he is vastly outnumbered. Nerchio jumps on the north side of the army. A great Zergling wraparound. Manages to cut off part of Impact's force. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but it's a great start to things for the Polish player. Impact's reinforcements, though, wrapping around from both the east and the west, both sides. A huge surround from Impact. The Corrosive Vials for Nerchio landing all over this army. I don't know if he's got enough numbers. The Corrosive Vials are good.
And Nerchio was completely caught up in army supply here. Thanks to that catch in the start of the fight, reinforcing quicker on his side of the map. He's actually going to chase Impact away. Nerchio with a fantastic hold.
Wow.
When all the numbers were in Impact's favor, now droning up, feeling comfortable, starting +2 missile attacks. What a great hold that was.
That was incredible. He's suddenly back in this game. He's only down 2 workers. Actually, he's even on workers. He's even on army supply. He's just down that +2 attack upgrade. Nice Corrosive Biles, punishing Impact for trying to chase this army down.
Impact this is weird. He must be tilted. Like he was just chasing into Corrosive Bile here a second ago.
I mean,
great aim.
Oh, Nerchio is on fire, man. I mean, it all comes back to that defense, the way he crushed that north part of Impact's army. Impact thought he was being clever, coming in with 2 prongs, and Nerchio just jumped on 1 prong, snapped the arm off, and then he was able to take a much more even engagement. Nerchio here hanging on right when everything's so important, because if he's to lose this series, his chances of going out of this fall to a very, very low percentage. He needs this win.
Nerchio saying, you think you're smart, huh? He adjusts his glasses, catches a couple of Roach Ravagers. Beautifully done. We now have a situation where both players are pretty much going to max out here momentarily. Impact on 197, Nerchio now on 200. Looking to try and set up another good fight here, as we see Nerchio forced to pull back against the Corrosive Bile of Impact. Does he turn around yet? I think he's waiting for reinforcements.
Yeah, he was kind of surrounded there. He didn't have the concave, but Impact actually gets a really good position here as well. Nerchio forces his way forwards. He's trying to use the Corrosive Bile. He breaks the concave of Impact there. He's trying to pull the Ravagers to the rear. These Hydras coming in and dealing a lot of damage, but the beginning of the engagement was awesome for Impact. That flank on the right-hand side, though, Roaches come in from all angles, and it looks like Nerchio once again repels Impact. He's fighting so hard in this game, but it's still neck and neck. It is still so close right now. Finally, the upgrades are about to be equal for the first time in 5 minutes. Nerchio, his army is going to hit just as hard as Impact's. He's got the Hydras in there as well. Their upgrades starting to add in there, but Impact is still looking dangerous. He's posing to make an attack on the south side, and Overlord does spot it. Nerchio is going to need to split his army. He doesn't know about that Roach attack on the north.
Nerchio did so well when he was at a deficit for such a long time. Now finally he equalized those upgrades. He's the one going for Hydralisks. You said it best. That's kind of what he likes to do. Now that both players are maxed out, let's see how that maxed out army control is going to be for either player. Impact again on the offensive, kind of walking inside of these corrosive piles here, trying to force the engagement. Monsborough running to the natural base in the meantime.
Some big corrosive vials there from Nerchio, but Nerchio abandoning his third base. He's losing a lot of drones in the middle of this. Impact, after wave and wave of aggression, seems to have finally found his opening. He's managed to run there into the main base where he's going to find even more weakness. Nerchio trying to gather up his defenses and hang on. Impact all over him right now, finding the damage. Nerchio needs to clean these roaches up.
And he's doing just that, as well as redroning to make sure he replaces those drones that died, make sure he keeps up with his economy. What an even game here between these two. Oh my goodness. It's been a little bit different on the upgrades, on the compositions, but Nerchio yet again stays alive. And I gotta say, I like his composition a little bit more. He's got quite a few Hydralisks for some extra DPS behind the Roach and Ravagers that he's made. And I feel like if Nerchio finally sets up a good fight the way he usually does it, he might be able to take this one. Impact still trying to get good engagements and trade Roach Ravager for the expensive units here of Nerchio in the Hydralisk, though.
Nerchio very decisive. He wants to take this fight, confident in his Hydralisk. He realizes, though, how many Roaches and Ravagers are coming forward. He's going to have to back off, losing a bunch of his units around this corner. The corrosive vials get eaten by Impact, though. Impact's so ambitious with this fight. As the reinforcements come in, Nerchio has an incredible concave. Impact may have overstepped here. Does end up running backwards. Nerchio with a small supply lead. Both players too afraid to tech up from here. It is all just combat. Nerchio wants to chase this army down. He's doing huge damage. Focuses down one of the Ravagers on the retreat. And Impact still stuck on Roach Ravager. No tunneling claws, no Hydras, no Lurkers. Impact is saying he will make it or break it with this composition.
And it might be Nerchio's time to go on the offensive here. He's going to jump on top of this army. He thinks he's killed enough. He thinks that he has enough army to deal with this massive amount of Roaches and Ravagers from Impact. Jumps on top of him, goes up the ramp. Nerchio, can he do this here?
Oh, it looks like he might be able to. The concave is good, though. The Queen's coming to the front here for Impact. He's trying to hang on. Almost all of his Ravagers are gone, but so are all of the Ravagers of Nerchio. The Hydralisks, though, pushing out the damage. It looks like he's done it. Nerchio pushing his way through the defenses of Impact. He's withstood wave after wave of aggression, hanging on in this series, fighting for his life in this group. He wants to go through here, and it looks like he might be able to do it. He's pushing onto the third base. He's going to take it down. Impact slouched in his chair. He can't believe what's happened.
I think Impact knows it must be starting to set in here. There is just too much for him to hold on. He's trying to regroup, trying to make more Roaches for a miracle fight here. He will need no less than that to prevent Nerchio from winning this series, as Nerchio will march forward here for, I think, one last huge fight.
We need to nickname this guy the Rock for the amount of aggression that he has withstood. Nerchio has just withstood wave after wave of Impact's attacks, and now that he is on the counter-attack, he is pushing through. Impact just does not have the unit counts, and Nerchio turns the series around from way behind in that final game, ends up taking the series 2-1, and he puts the series on the board. He's still got hope in this group stage. That's Nerchio in a nutshell. Hanging on when the pressure is hardest, when there is just so much going against him. when only a perfect engagement could possibly keep him alive. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about that victory. We're going to find out from him in just a minute, guys. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We just saw the home crowd favorite in Nerchio go up against Impact, and with his tournament life potentially on the line, he does pull through with the 2-1. So, first of all, congratulations, Nerchio. I want to jump right into talking about this series, because there were so many aggressive games, particularly coming from Impact. We saw he had identical openings on both the first and second map, but he won the first and you won the second. So what went differently in those two maps?
Well, I kind of expected what he was going to do. Well, the first map was kind of rough and I didn't scout perfectly, which I should. And then I think it would have gone differently. So I actually could have taken the first map, but well, playing on stage is always a little bit worse, I guess, than backstage. Well, anyway, I'm glad I took that win.
And now I want to talk about that last map on Blackpink, because it turned into the longest map out of the three that you played. It was the most interesting. So walk us through why you think in the end it was eventually you that took the win.
Well, I actually was pretty far behind. At least I felt like it. And well, I thought it was over when he was coming with speed roaches. I didn't even have lair tech, but well, I took a great engagement and came back into the game.
You're definitely known for your great engagements, and now with this Zerg win under your belt, you're going up against another fantastic Zerg in Rogue. So now that you've played this CVZ, does that make you more comfortable going up against Rogue?
Well, first of all, I was hoping my ZVPs would go a little bit better, but well, it is what it is. So I'm gonna do my best against the Zergs now. Well, the first one is down, but I'm afraid that Rogue is going to be a little bit harder.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I know the Polish fans here are cheering their hearts out for you. Congratulations again. James, back to you.
That's right, thank you. Always great to see Nerchio being victorious here on Polish soil. And I am joined here with the ambassadors of analysis. We have Maynard and we have Tasteless. There you go. And we've been watching a few games go down. I want to check in with you first, Tasteless. You had Cyril versus Neve, which has run into a few technical difficulties.
Yeah, we did get to game 3.
Yes.
Game 2 was awesome. We'll get to that in a second. But just so you guys know, there's been some delay. They're having to check something with lag, and I'm actually rejoining in the game right now. So hopefully we'll get the conclusion of this series soon. But Cyril really bringing it in game number 2. Neve was actually pretty dominant for, I'd say, the first half. But Cyril trucked through. It ended with a really good surround. Lurkers hitting both sides of an expansion. All the Immortals getting completely obliterated, and now it's going down to this last game. And as soon as that lag issue is sorted out, we should be good to go.
Good stuff, good stuff. It's good to see that that game between Cyril and Neeb, them being WCS circuit champions, is going all the distance. Maynard, I want to talk to you really, because we saw this Impact versus Nerchio series go down. Very back and forth. It was amazing to see how Nerchio was able to hold, especially in that third game situation.
Yeah, my heart has only just resumed to like a regular BPM at the moment, because that engagement that Nerchio was talking about, that engagement at his third hatchery to the north, that looked like on paper that it was going to be an Impact win, but Nerchio had that sort of like launch pad of his roaches where he instantly took a few free volleys at Impact's army. I'm like, oh, good start, but he's still down in supply, and then all of a sudden just started to surround the army. The reinforcements there just in time. It was like a 1 or 2 unit difference could have easily changed the outcome of that battle, and he just held on. And we know that, you know, if the game goes a little bit longer, someone like Nerchio is going to run away with it versus someone like Impact, who's so much stronger in the early stages of the game.
We're only halfway through this group, but it seems still very open. We keep getting a lot of results coming in. And
I was just looking at them right now. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Cyril's on top of the group, but of course he's still in a series, so that could change the outcome of things, the balance of things. Nerchio actually could still possibly get through if things line out with him. I mean, he does kind of have to beat Rogue and Cyril, which is not easy. Not easy, but you know, there's possibilities for him, of course.
Yeah. And it must be feeling good for Impact, not necessarily this result, but since last year, 2017, he tried to qualify for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice and was 1 map away. If I remember in the open brackets, Jaxi actually defeated him. So even though he didn't take this series, he's still taken series before. Impact still looking healthy here in this group.
I agree completely. And the fact that he's improved from the previous year is definitely something.
Yeah.
Because of the way this group is panning out, it's actually really hard to tell who is actually going to advance. We have a race distribution here, one where maybe you're really good at just one matchup and that's enough to carry you through, but you're going to struggle in another one. So it's still a nail biter to see who exactly is going to advance here.
And so far, the majority of the Zergs looking good to go halfway through this group here in Group C. We're going to go to a break. When we return, more StarCraft action here from the Intel Extreme Masters.